afternoon, everyone, and thank you for stopping in to the Vernon Community Network's Diversity Day, the ML Beloved Community Pledge this afternoon. I'd like to start with introducing my board members to everyone. So we have
Tom Zedillo,
Cheryl Jones,
Christina Flinus,
Amy Blank,
Antonia Edwards,
Christina Walters,
Robin Kohler.
Thank you. So today's event has been sponsored by 360 Credit Union, Target, Great Harvest Bread. We'd like to also thank Sustainable CT for making this a crowdfunding event, which is really cool. So we have donations are accepted. We'd also like to thank Harper Foundation for public giving, for also allowing us to roll out the Martin Luther King I Love Community Program. Rock on Juneteenth. Juneteenth. So this is, correct me, a federal holiday, correct?
Yes, it is.
So we are now a federal and state holiday, so which is kind of cool. It took a long time to get here, so now we have two in the book. So we have MLK, Martin Luther King's birthday, and now Juneteenth. So it would be great if we could get some more on the books, but for now we'll take what we've got. So, and we'll move forward with that. So today we have a few guest speakers, and I'd like to introduce Antonia Edwards.
Hi.
She's good. And we have three young ladies from, come on over, girls. We have three young ladies from Rockville High School. You're all in Rockville High, right? Yeah, they're all students at Rockville High School. So what they did was these young ladies, they wrote a magazine in the Right On Black Girl magazine, correct? And it's out of UConn, the program. It's out of UConn. So they're just going to talk a little bit about themselves and why they chose to writers. And then we have Jeff Boyce over here, which will explain a little bit about our sustainable CT and how we achieve that goal.
So I'm doing a fundraiser, Plant a Purse. We got donations for the purses. Those are all donations. And then, we got the flowers in the dirt and a volunteer here, and we're raising money.
Boston bred. I've been in Connecticut this time. Hey! She's from Salty. I've been in Connecticut this time for 5 years. I was here years ago and stayed for a short time, but then came on a family emergency, probably like 2016. At that time, my daughter was married to her husband, and he kidnapped my grandkids. And in kidnapping them, there was physical violence that was taking place. So at the time, we thought that the dust had settled, everything was okay. My granddaughter had developed mental illnesses, auditory hallucinations, and something we had never dealt with before. We did everything we could to get the medical treatment she needed. My daughter's a nurse. I worked in the medical legal field. We knew exactly what it was. Walk like a duck, quack like a duck, like a duck. So the bigger piece is that I sit on 10 boards here. I'm very congenial, very astute, engaged, and I did all this on my free time. I did it because it was in my heart, and I did it because my son humbled me. My son is 23 years old now. My kids are 13 years apart. He's autistic, so when he was born, it was just like, wow, this is a whole new world. I have to get in engaged. So I started working as a family advocate in '99 in Boston. That was the train, and from there, everywhere I went, I just gave back to the community. What I found most disparaging when I was here in Connecticut was I was the point person. I was on every board. I was at every meeting. I was up close and personal. But when I engaged with the medical community here, I was highly discriminated against because I spoke proper English, because I had legal jargon. My daughter was discriminated against because she was a nurse. They ended up coding my grandkids' mom's house syndrome by proxy. They investigated our backgrounds. These are doctors, not even DCF. DCF was called 7 times. So it was kind of ironic to me that every time I went to my boards, I'm like, this is going on in the community. I can't believe this. And nobody really took it serious. So as a result of them not taking it serious, my granddaughter killed my grandson in his sleep. So for me, it was just majorly devastating, and I felt like, you know, saying I was made a mockery of. I mean, I'm fighting for all the people in the community. I don't even know these people. Connecticut's not my stomping ground. Boston is. So if I can come into Connecticut and hit the ball running and hit the ground running, fighting for everybody else, and I can advocate for them because people aren't speaking up for themselves, how the hell does my grandson die on my watch? So I can be very bitter. I can go back home. I can go to Connecticut, but I decided to fight. And I want to fight so that no other parent had to go through what I went through. So it was more racist for me. However, it could be from poverty. It could be from where you're located. If you're not located in Stamford or Greenwich, it could be discriminated because of that. But I clearly know it was racial discrimination. So I talked to many senators, Senator Kelly, Senator Armour, Exum, Summers, and I'm like, listen, these are the videos that we took to the ER and said my granddaughter's running around the house chasing us with knives. These are the videos where she threw us in coffins. They didn't take this serious. I'm trying to figure out how that's expressive writing. So they were like, you're kidding me. So because I spoke up, so many other people like, yeah, well, I'm in a domestic violence with my kid too, and this happens, and so on. So I got people to testify. I'm like, I need you to tell your story. You know, Connecticut's your home. You've been here all these years. This stuff didn't just happen. So you have to be able to speak up and tell the stories because my grandson would have died if you had. So I'm asking and begging everybody to tell the people the truth. Something's going on. And it's across the nation, but it's really bad here in Connecticut. So this year, 5001, which is HB 5001, is the Act Concerning Children's Mental Health. My daughter and I were very instrumental in getting that done. We told the story, we showed the videos, we dug deep in the medical records. We divulged information to people that we probably shouldn't have, but I did that to save other kids' lives. COVID did create an awareness for mental illness. However, it just unveiled what was already here. So a lot of people like, oh, my kid's mental ill, because of COVID. No, they were already mentally ill. You just didn't pay attention because everybody's so busy, going to school, going to work, whatever. COVID just shut everybody down, so they had to be aware of what's going on. So I said to myself that if I couldn't bring my grandson back and I couldn't right the wrongs to my daughter, I was going to fight and make sure that nobody forgot my grandson's name, and so that this doesn't happen to any other family, regardless of where you live at or what color you are. So that bill passed last month, also SB1 and SB2, which is an educational component of it. And so I just want to tell you people that there's so much money being poured into this bill. I mean, so many resources. So if there's anything that you see in your family that doesn't make any sense, you know, depression, suicidal, homicidal, please get the services that are there. My grandson would have died in vain. So I did this because I wasn't taken serious. I know other people weren't taken serious. And at this time, the resources are there and the money's there. And so if you don't take it serious, I will feel like everything I did was in vain. And so I just want to make you guys aware of the fact that the services are here all over Connecticut. They're going to be building 4. I asked if they could get urgent care facilities. I seen it down south. It was like, oh, it's an urgent care facility for mental health. You go, talk to people, say what's going on. They either give you medication, release you, or they find out if they have to place you. They're going to build 4 of them now here. And I think it's so important because when I went into the ERs here, it was like a war zone. Kids are sleeping on mats on the ground. You're walking over, you know, kids, because that's how backed up and problematic the mental health system was here for kids. And so I wanted better. And so my daughter, I can never bring back my grandson. My daughter was like, I don't feel fulfilled. And I told, the young lady this the other day, she doesn't feel like anything's been accomplished because she doesn't have my grandson back or whatever. But maybe years down the line, she'll see the reward with it. But not only that, I didn't want to sweep underneath the rug like it normally is, especially if it's something that's racial discriminative. And so I just want to let everybody know that I did it because it was the best thing to do, and I always kept all the kids' best interests at heart. And I just want you guys to take advantage of that. The resources, there's 24-hour mobile crisis services now. It used to be until 11 o'clock. They have the heart team. There's so many resources. So if you got a chance, look up the bills on CGA, the HB 5001, SB1, and SB2. And I just want to also thank Senator Kelly's office. His office believed in me. I went to him and said, listen, nobody's listening to me. This really did happen. If I show you the videos and show you the medical records and show you the drawings, will you take it serious? Because I had to convince my daughter to do it. His office looked at every single video, every single medical record, every single picture, and was like, you gotta be kidding me. So because of him, that's why everybody took it serious. And I so want to thank also both parties, both Republicans and Democrats. This is the first bill that was voted into legislation here, bipartisan, this nonpartisan, bipartisan, and unanimously. It has never been done here in Connecticut. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for listening. If you need me, Sherry can find me. The biggest resources that I use, I'm on the board for the Children's Behavioral Advisory Board, also Connecticut Council for Development Disabilities, DCF RAC boards. Please get involved in your communities and get engaged. The information is there. And so if you need me, Terry can find me, and I can connect you with additional services. But just don't forget my grandson's name. His name is Navon Edwards, and he passed as a result of racial discrimination and cultural incompetency for his sister having mental illnesses that didn't take serious. Thank you. So next we have three young ladies from Rockville High. I'm going to have come up. We have Piper, Gabby, and Kimberly. So I'm going to have them just speak a little bit about themselves and why they chose to become writers and how they got involved with the magazine.
So, hello, my name is Kimberly Yankson. What really motivated me to become a writer was I moved to Connecticut about a year, almost 2 ago, from a predominantly white neighborhood in New York City. Well, not in New York City, it's actually upstate New York, yeah. So, during that, living there my whole entire life, since it was predominantly white, I really did experience a lot of racial discrimination in school, and a lot of trauma came from that because having to deal with those kids being so ignorant to black culture in general, it really made me just develop a trauma, and as if me being black wasn't a normal thing, but it is completely normal. So when my teacher told me about this writing anthology and about submitting my works in it, I was very enthusiastic because both my parents actually immigrated from Africa, so I thought it was a very good opportunity to have my writing voice seen, and it did work out. It worked out really well. I got 4 stories published in the magazine, and I will forever be proud of that, and I believe that writing is just like a very good outlet to express yourself and express just any sort of creativity you want. So that is why I became a writer.
Hi, I'm Piper. I love writing because it gives you a voice, whether you're the loudest person in the room or you're just in the background. And I especially love writing stories because you can create your own world. There's nothing too big or too small that you can put in it.
Hi, I'm Gabby, and the reason I became a writer was just because it's fun. Like, I always liked writing stories from a very young age, and when I got to Rockville, I found out that I was actually really good at poetry and playwriting. So when my teacher asked me to submit, I was excited to just have my work put out there, and I just liked building worlds, like especially with playwriting. I enjoy seeing it come together, like actors reading my play and things like that. So I just really enjoy like making things and creating this whole big like universe myself.
Thank you, ladies. So this is a copy of the magazine. They printed it, so if anyone would like to take a look at it. So I saw an article about them, and I was very intrigued, and I thought it was awesome that we had 3 young ladies of color that is getting out there and getting their voices heard. So thank you, thank you, thank you. just graduated from Rockville High School on Thursday. Yay, yay, yay. So she loves to write, she loves to think, she loves to analyze, and I just love her to death. So she also has the Healing Hands Project through the Vernon Community Network as a nonprofit. So she just also came back from Carnegie Hall, where she was honored as two students from Rockville High that were honored through Carnegie for.
I won a gold medal writing portfolio.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So one of the only two students at Rockville High. Yeah. So it's like really cool. And she also represents Pride Month. You know, here's Destiny. She's just going to say a little bit for us.
Hi. So, some of you might know, remember me as Destiny, but I recently came out as transgender. So that means that I don't identify with the gender I was born as. I identify as non-binary. So I just wanted to speak a little bit about Pride Month. So in addition to Juneteenth, we also recognize June as LGBT Pride Month. And the reason for this is because in the 1900s, there was a lot of, on top of all the brutality against people of color, there was also a lot of brutality from the police against the LGBT community. There was a really serious and violent police raiding of a LGBT bar and in downtown New York, and this caused a lot of people to finally speak up about the oppression of people who have sexualities and gender identities that are cisgender or heterosexual. And it ended up being into a riot, and it turned into something really big, and it helped spark a lot of movements for the LGBT community, such as in 2015, gay marriage was legalized in all 50 states in America. So I just really want to let everyone know that it's not just about the flags and the colors. I mean, I'm decked out in rainbow, but it's not really about that. It's about the fact that we're able to be here and continue to fight for our rights to live as anyone else would, regardless of our sexual orientation or our gender or anything along the lines. So I just really wanted to sink in that it's more than just a flag. So thank you all for listening. Amen.
So we're not going to do the whole pledge today. We're going to start at the beginning and go about halfway down where it ends with "Be love." All right? I acknowledge three things: the violence, oppression, inequity, injustice, and hate in our world has to stop. I have responsibility and role to play in creating social change for a more just, humane, equitable, and peaceful world. The decision is mine whether to do nothing in this moment or have the courage to stand up for justice. And I have made my decision. Starting today, I make a personal choice to be love. So the Be Love Pledge. I acknowledge three things: the violence, oppression, inequity, injustice, and hate in our world has to stop. I have a responsibility and a role to play in creating social change for a more just, humane, equitable, and peaceful world. The decision is mine whether to do nothing in this moment or to have the courage to stand up for justice. And I have made my decision. Starting today, I make a personal choice to be love. And we're just going to stop right there. All right, thank you so much.